Hey, we be doing things a neat way. You don't wanna go through all of this, well that's okay. But if you just stay within your zone, you won't slay. Sitting back and relaxing, privileged like Lil Tay. I'm just playing, we not doing no harm today. Not to any viewers or to me within this game. So just sit back and relax and get something to eat, while I show you what it really means to throw some shade. Welcome to The Neat Way, a show hosted by a teenager who has a much better masculine voice than Mega Man does. I mean, listen to how low it can go, right? In this episode, we take on the PS1 version of Mega Man 8. In this game, a robot falls from outer space towards the Earth, and after a dogfight between Mega Man and Base, and after Base destroys the side of a building and an elevator which probably cost thousands of dollars to repair, Dr. Light makes Mega go retrieve a suspicious source of energy in an exotic island that looks very safe and not suspicious at all from afar. And thus, we start our torment. In the Neat Way, we don't just clear games with no damage. We put more pressure on our shoulders than we already have, and we 100% the games we play. To 100% Mega Man 8 is to collect all 40 bullets in the game. And this time I'm doing this because I want to. That blasted stranger from last episode is gone now. Running 8 back, I presume? How did you get inside my house? In the intro stage, there are 3 bullets to get, all of which are in this underwater section. The first bullet is through this fake wall here. The bullet is lying on the ground. The second bullet is found when we take the elevator on the right, and the third bullet is in plain sight as we exit the stage. We use Mega Ball to mop the floor with this crab, which, with or without context, would probably make the floor very slippery and disgusting. Then we see that Dr. Wily beat us to getting the suspicious source of energy. And then Dr. Light and Mega Man make the very wise and smart choice to take the stranger robot to the lab for repairs. And then they get surprised later when they see that the robot wrecked the lab, because that definitely did not happen in the prior game. Mega Man 8 is designed similar to Mega Man 7 in that we don't have access to all 8 robots right off the bat. For right now, we only have access to 4. Of the 4, we will first go to northern Chile, where we shall shove our foot up Grenade Man's tuchus. There are 5 bullets to get in this stage. The first bullet in this stage is found by taking these blocks out in a specific order. The second bullet is on top of this platform. Then we fight Urarune, who is a giant eyeball who's weak to Mega Ball. Have you ever gotten hit in the eye by a soccer ball? It hurts, doesn't it? After red carding Urarune, we get Rush Bike. Unfortunately, we cannot get all the bullets in this stage right now, as one of the bullets require the use of a special weapon that we don't currently have. However, we can get this bullet down here and this bullet here if we act fast enough. I'm sure there's probably a collision glitch somewhere that can retrieve that bolt right now. If there was, for your standards, it'd probably be considered cheating. Oh, so now you care about cheating? You want me to remind you of what you did last game? You want me to throw this controller at you? Then we fight Grenade Man, whose moveset is pretty easy to understand. The fight is pretty entertaining, so entertaining that he even laughs whenever he gets hit. That felt good! Yeah, that did feel good. After getting a bang out of Grenade Man, we get Flash Bomb. We take a pit stop by the shop and purchase the arrow shot, my favorite kind of charge shot. Speaking of arrows, if you don't get out of my house right now, I'm gonna get my bow and arrow and— Are you talking about this bow and arrow? First, you break into my house. Then you start stealing my stuff. Now finish this run, or I'll shoot this arrow straight through your head. My goodness, okay, I will. Now we go to the northern part of Canada where Frost Man is at. There are 6 bullets to get in this stage. The first 2 bullets are in the first jump, slide section of this stage. When this platform is seen, we jump onto it and we slide when it tells us to slide. For the second bullet, we actually must disobey one of the commands. There are 2 parts of this section where it tells us to jump repeatedly. The last jump command in the latter part is the one we want to disobey, earning us a bullet. In the second half of the stage, there are 4 bullets to get, one of which we can't actually get yet. The first bullet's in plain sight and we use the Mega Ball to get to it. For the second bullet, we break the ice, blocking our way to the bullet so we can get to it. For the third bullet, we use Flash Bomb to melt this ice block so we can get this bullet. We go through an elevator, another jump, slide section, and onto Frost Man, whose strategy of fighting is about as fruitful as a fruitless branch. He's really easy with Flash Bomb. After Frost Man has a bit of a meltdown, we get Ice Wave. We take a pit stop at the shop and purchase the exit module, because trust me, we're really gonna need it later so that I don't lose my sanity, even though I think I already did by deciding to do this run. And you're not helping! Shut up. Make me! Mission accomplished. Now we go to Japan to meet up with Tengu Man. There are 4 bolts in this stage. The first bolt is up here on this platform. The second bolt is in the second half of the stage after defeating Shikido Dagama. It's in plain sight. And to get the third bolt, we need to take the bottom path here to this platform. As for the fourth bolt, we can't get that yet. Sorry. Tengu Man's really easy and weak, and he blows up in the same fashion as a gas bubble. How, you may ask? A dozen small pops, and a big explosion right after. And now we get Tornado Hold. Now we go to Australia, which is where the circus is being held. We're going to Clown Man stage. There are 5 bolts to get in this stage. The first bolt will be obtained by using Rush Bike in this area here. After pause scumming the heck out of CC Roll, we get Rush Question, a more arbitrary version of Rush Search. The second bolt is in plain sight on this platform. The third bolt is in the corner on the right. The fourth bolt is in the corner on the left, but we cannot get that right now. Sorry. And the fifth bolt is in this portion below the stage. And getting it without taking damage takes quite a bit of practice. At this point, I was really nervous, and so I pause scummed Clown Man's fight too. Guys, if I decide to do the Sega Saturn version of this game, I promise I won't do this trick for either Clown Man or CC Roll. After we pity the fool, we get Thunderclaw. Then a cutscene plays out in which Mega checks in on the stranger robot and asks Dr. Light about this energy he stumbled upon. He says that he's not familiar with this kind of energy and that they should keep it away from Dr. Wily. Then they leave the room to track down Dr. Wily, but before leaving, Dr. Light does pass some gas in this room. This robot wakes up to that horrible stench, gets triggered by it, screams from his agony, and breaks the ceiling wide open so that he can escape the room before getting vaporized. Somehow surprised by this happening, Dr. Light tells Mega to go after the robot to tell him that this is a normal human bodily function that he should get used to, especially if he's around a person as gassy as him. In this stage, there are 2 bolts to get, both of which are up this ladder. The first bolt is across this pit of spikes. We use Thunderclaw to get it. The second bolt is found if we go to the end of the room. After that, we progress through the stage. The boss of this stage is the robot we found. After we defeat him, Proto Man comes in and warns us that this robot might be connected to Dr. Wily. Then another cutscene plays in which we try to enter Wily Tower but fail to do so. Our failure is caused by a giant jerk bot grabbing us and squeezing the ever-living crap out of us for about 20 seconds. That robot comes in and beats this robot's butt in front of Mega. He also reveals his name to be Duo.
Who are you?
My name is Duo. I was born with the sole purpose to eliminate the evil energy from this universe.
He tells us that a barrier stops him from entering the tower and we need to go shut down the energy sources for said barrier. And now we have access to the second half of the Robot Masters. We take another pit stop at the shop to buy a couple more items. The energy balancer and the hyper slider. Now it's time to go to Asia to take on Sword Man. There are 3 bolts in this stage. The first half of his stage contains 4 trials. The Flash Bomb trial, which has a bolt in plain sight, the Ice Wave trial, the Thunderclaw trial, which has another bolt, and the Tornado Hold trial. After bathing Garena Eye with some grenades, we get Rush Bomber. The last bolt in this stage is obtained in a secret area that is blocked off by a block that can only be destroyed with Flash Bomb. And Swordman, with the Buster, is a cakewalk.
Nice shot.
You know what's gonna be a nice shot? When I shoot you with this arrow. I thought you said you wouldn't shoot me if I finished this run. I never said that. Actually, no, you didn't say that. What you did say was, now finish this run or I'll shoot this arrow straight through your head, implying that if I don't finish this run, you'll shoot me. So that means that if I do finish this run, then you won't shoot me. I did not say what I would do if you finished this run. But you did say, finish this run or I'll shoot this arrow straight through your head. Not finish this run and I'll shoot this arrow straight through your head. Or can mean alternatives. So I could just decide to shoot you even if you finish this run. Or can mean alternatives. But saying or is not the same as saying and. Because and means that more than one event needs to happen. But or means that one of the events need to happen, but they cannot all happen. So to eliminate the possibility of you finishing this run, I should just shoot you right now. Hold your horses, my good dude. You didn't say, I am shooting this arrow straight through your head. You said, I will shoot this arrow straight through your head. You were never referring to a present action. you were referring to a future action, which would be an alternative to my not finishing this run. Or can also mean otherwise, especially when it is preceded by a command, which it was. So I'm afraid you're gonna have to put that bow and arrow down for the time being, and wait until I either quit or I finish this run, the latter I am wont to do. I really hate you. We get Flame Sword. Now it's time to go to the DRC to search for Search Man. There are 4 bolts in this stage. The first is in this corner behind these thick leaves. The second is up this ladder that we get to with careful use of Mega Ball. The third is after this barrier that can be destroyed with Flame Sword. And the fourth is at the end of this spiked hallway. After searching for and finding all the bolts in the stage, now it's time to search for a method to defeat Search Man. He's weak to Flame Sword, but you have to get pretty close to him to damage him with Flame Sword, and I was having trouble dealing with his bouncy bomb attack, so I resorted to just using the arrow shot on him. After finding Search Man's off button, we get Homing Sniper. We take a pit stop at the shop to buy the high speed charge. Now we go to Scandinavia to visit Astro Man Stage, which has 4 bolts to get. The first bolt is behind this red door in the first maze in the stage. If you want to see how to do the mazes, the uncut no damage run should appear on screen right now. The second bolt is in this falling tower. The third bolt is in plain sight on this platform, and the fourth bolt is behind this green door in the second maze. Now it's time to actually fight Astro Man, who suffers from severe Spark Mandrill syndrome. After Astro Man spaces out, we get Astro Crush. We take yet another pit stop at the shop to buy the energy saver. Speaking of saving things, think you could save some energy in your yapping and use that energy in the game and not sound like a schlub? If you want the yapping energy to be converted into punching energy, then sure thing! Now we travel to Madagascar's maritime boundary to swim after Aqua Man. There are 4 bolts in the stage, all of which are in the second half of the stage. After defeating the mini-boss Gorone with the help of Rush Bomber, Astro Crush, and Flash Bomb, we get the last rush utility in the game, Rush Charger. It kinda sucks how there's no proper Rush Coil, Rush Jet, or Rush Search in this game, or any adapters or E-tanks or W-tanks or S-tanks or M-tanks. Capcom really stripped us of a lot of useful stuff in this game, didn't they? Similar to how you stripped yourself of your self-respect. If you keep making these idiotic quips, I'm about to strip you of your life! Not unless I strip you of your life first. Don't forget I'm standing next to the bow and arrow. So you're really gonna go back against your word? We already had a whole semantics argument thing. I'm about to pick this thing up. Okay, I'm sorry! To access the first bolt, we first need to use Astro Crush in this room to break this barrier and raise the water level so we can reach the ladder to get it. The second bolt is after this floating spike that we must use Tornado Hold on to raise it. The third bolt is in the secret room that we only have access to because we raised the water level. To get the fourth bolt, we actually need to go back through this stage again. Aquaman also suffers from Spark Mandrill syndrome, and now that Aquaman's dead in the water, we get Water Balloon. And now we have access to the Wily Tower. But before taking that on, we still need to get 5 more bolts. So we go back to the second half of the indoor nuclear test site and use Flame Sword on this fuse to blow up these bombs, giving us access to this bolt. Then we go back to Canada in the second half of the stage where we use Astro Crush and Flash Bomb to gain access to this bolt. Then we go back to the Land of the Rising Sun to the second half of the stage where we spam Homing Sniper on this compartment to break it open, dropping the next bolt. Then we go back to the Sickening Circus where we first get some sweet revenge on CC Roll. Then in the second half of the stage we use Flame Sword on this container, breaking it open and giving us the second to last bolt. Then we go back to Atlantis to struggle a bit more with Gorone and access the area we didn't access the first time we went to the stage. In this area we find the last bolt of the 40 total bolts in the game. We take a pit stop by the shop to buy the Super Recover, which makes us recover more ammo from ammo pickups. Now it's time to enter the end game located in the Wily Tower, starting with the stage that everyone loves to hate, Wily Stage 1. If you're having trouble with some of the longer jumps, use Astro Crush. It'll stall you in the air for a few seconds. The boss of this stage is a Tetamino. He's big and round. Reminds me of some people.
Can you shut up?
The easiest weapon to use to damage this guy is Mega Ball. You can technically damage him with the arrow shot, but it takes a lot longer. As for the boxes he likes to drop, I either mash the crap out of the Mega Buster, or I use Flash Bomb if they're further away. Then he tries to trick me into damaging damaging his stunt double. But I ain't falling for that trick. If I damage his stunt double, he'll send a shockwave on the ground that will do me damage if I run into it. This fight's low-key hectic, but it is manageable. Now for a breather stage, Wily Stage 2. This is a pretty cool stage with pretty cool music as well. This stage pulls a Tengu Man and has this long rush jet section at the end that tries to murder you in the second half of it. The boss of this stage is... Wait a minute.
His name is Blicking. He is only damageable on his vertical wings. Astro Crush is very useful against him. Where are you even at? You should be working on this run.
Now for Wily Stage 3. Halfway through this impeccable stage, we fight Base, who tries to use the evil energy to spite us and fails miserably as his fight is stupid easy. After Mega Man tells Base to wake up, which I personally would not take from anyone any day of the week, we progress through the rest of the stage to another easy boss, the Green Devil. Flash Bomb and Thunderclaw work wonders against him, and his attacks are fairly simple to dodge. After exorcising the Green Devil, we enter the last stage in the game, Wily Stage 4. I took on Clown Man, Aqua Man, and Frost Man because those were the bosses I was the most scared of, and Frost Man ended more runs than I would like to admit. All the other bosses were just a bunch of short walks in the park. After defeating all the bosses, Mega goes up to find Dr. Wily so he can whoop his butt again. Wily traps him and plots on absolutely obliterating his hiney in front of the players, and Duo comes in last second to save Mega from the potentially fatal blow. Proto Man comes in to help Duo out after Duo gets badly damaged from protecting Mega. And now it's time to square up with Wily Machine 8. The biggest threat in this fight for me is the spinning wheel on the side of his machine. The spiky wheels are pretty easy to dodge, but whenever I see the wheel spin to no end, I quickly use Tornado Hold to evacuate to the skies, as the orbs that he fires immediately after go in random directions, and sometimes go in combos that simply cannot be dodged. Arrow Shot is useful in disabling his mouth from shooting out a laser.
Instead of just shooting you through your head, I should have shot you in the mouth. That would have shut you up.
After defeating Wily Machine 8, it's now time for the real final boss fight of the game, Wily Capsule 5. Here I used Astro Crush because this weapon is blessed with the ability to keep Mega invincible for about 2 seconds. I was also paw scumming a lot in this fight, especially in his attack where he shoots out 8 orbs simultaneously. Most of the time when he does that, I used Astro Crush. I also did it when he did the Mega Man 7 capsule attack, but sometimes I did actually dodge the attack. To damage him, I used the Arrow Shot. I did eventually run out of Astro Crush, and when that happened, I used my good old faithful Rushy Boy to drop weapon energy for me. My only use of Rush Charger throughout this entire playthrough. After shooting down Wily Capsule 5, Wily begs us for forgiveness again. And it looks like Wily 2 used the evil energy against Mega, and it overpowers Mega, bringing the Wily Tower to its destruction. So, if the Wily Tower got destroyed, what happened to Dr. Wily? No clue. Mega is unconscious, and Duo comes back to rid Mega of the evil energy that's in his body due to Mega's mind not being completely overtaken by the evil that accompanied the evil energy. Proto Man comes, and Duo has a quote, favor for Proto. Mega wakes up inside of the lab, everyone's happy that he's alive. Dr. Light looks like he's about to pass some happy gas while also telling Mega that Duo saved him. Mega evacuates from his lab from the horrible stench, and Proto tells Mega that Duo left a message for him.
Duo is gone.
Proto Man!
Mega Man, I have a message to give you from Duo.
From Duo? What is it?
He said, thank you.
Duo? Me too. Thank you, Duo.
Let's not make this more weird than it needs to be, Mega. And that is Mega Man 8 The Neat Way. I kinda love / hate this game. The music in this game is fire, and so are the designs of the stages and their respective gimmicks, but I've never really been fond of the artwork and the looks of the sprites in this game. That's just a personal preference though. So my dude, my man, I finished the game.
What do you expect me to say, bravo?
These runs take a lot of time to do, my good fella. Now can you please leave my house?
What if I don't feel like leaving your house?
Then I have an ace in the hole.
What do you mean by that?
Thanks for watching this episode of The Neat Way. Like, dislike, subscribe, only if you want to. I shall see you in the next video. Until then, stay blessed and stay neat.